Hello my dear crafters and welcome all to Altered Pumpkin YouTube Hub. This event will be running for a whole week. Winners will be chosen randomly on the 1st of November. For this project I decided to make a pumpkin from scratch. So I did a little search on how to on Pinterest and finally I chose to make my pumpkin by using a balloon and some ribbon to help create the shape of the pumpkin. Then I used strips of newspaper and white crafter's glue to create 3 layers all around the balloon. I let dry completely and then I used air dry clay to coat the pumpkin and give it its final shape. Then I used several silicone molds by Iron Orchid Designs, which I cut and combined to embellish the upper half of the pumpkin. I cut a piece of hardboard, which I painted with an olive green chalky finish paint. This piece I will use later on as a base for my composition. As a first coat on the pumpkin, I used a dark yellow on the upper part and a dark khaki green on the lower part, also with chalky finish paint. I used some deep red and purple impasto paints to make some random highlights. These will roughly show through later on, but will definitely create more interest to the eye. Next, I used Andy Skinner's New Resist paste, which I placed in random spots. On top of that, I covered all the lower part of the pumpkin with crackle medium. I let it dry very well. To complete my composition, I decided to create a set of books that would look old and distressed and would definitely be the books of a witch. So those books would be all about potions and spells and haunting. So I took 3 novels I had in my library. One of them had a hardcover, but the other 2 didn't. So I used some tricks to decorate my books and make them look old and mysterious. I used pieces of really thick white cardstock to create my covers, and for the book spine I used a piece of cylinder I had kept from a cling film. To cover the books, I used a piece of cheesecloth and I glued everything with soft matte gel. Then it was time to decorate the books, so I used some molds from Iron Orchid Designs and created the labels. And to carve the titles on the labels, I used some letter stamps that I glued on some sticky tape. And when I had the whole word formed, I took the sticky tape and pushed it on the wet clay. So the title of the book was there, embossed and ready. Next, I applied a yellow-orange color on top of the crackle medium and a violet-purple color on the top part of the pumpkin. At this point, an old friend and very talented photographer, Stavros Chabakis, paid me a visit, and he took those amazing and so natural photos. I thank him so much for this. Later, I continued building more layers of color by using different mediums, including mists, alcohol inks, and fluid acrylic paints. After the paint had dried, I used some baby wipes to remove the paint from the spots where I had applied the resist paste. In between the layers of colors, I dry brushed with the white chalky finish paint in order to highlight the texture of my molds. To finish decorating the books, I used some chalky finish colors again and painted the whole covers, and then made some splashes with mist to create more color variations. And at the end, I used Distress Oxide ink to make the books look really old. I also used the Distress Oxide ink to distress the edges of the book's pages, and that finishing touch really gave a genuine old distressed look to my books. I really loved that. So after I had all the items ready, I took the hardboard, the base for my composition, and I glued some craft moss on it. And then I used heavy body gel to glue the pumpkin and the books, and the project was finished. To create this project, I was inspired by the story of Cinderella, and actually this pumpkin is her carriage. So it's right after midnight and she has escaped the ballroom, and now she's running into the woods, but the carriage has started transforming to a pumpkin again. So that's why the pumpkin looks like a real one at the bottom, while on top is still glamorous with all those embellishments and decorations to resemble the carriage. I really hope you enjoyed it and got some ideas for your own creations. Hope to the next video to see even more ideas and beautiful projects. And don't forget to carefully read the instructions in the description area below the video in order to have a chance to win one of the fabulous prizes offered by our generous sponsors. This is Natassa Blazaki from Art Recipes and More. Thank you so much for visiting my channel. Bye bye.